Welcome, guys, to ILWPOD. I am your host, Justin Wright. I'm here today with a hardcore legend and a great human being, Tuff Tony. How you doing today, man?
Doing all right. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to have you on the show. As we was talking about before we started recording, I'm a big fan, and I feel like you're one of those guys that deserves to get their word out, their story out.
Yeah, man. I've been in this game a long time, and it ain't that I want any recognition or whatever. It's more of I look at it like a job. I go in there and do my job, and it's been very, very good to me. I started my own promotion, GRINDHOUSE Pro Wrestling Academy. We train wrestlers. We've been around 10 years now. We're in Jeffersonville, Indiana. And we're we're doing really good, man. Like I said, we've been there 10 years. I just bought into the building there so we can solidify that we will always be there.
Okay. Where'd you say that's at again?
Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Yes, and it's Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy.
Okay. Um, so you said you've been in the business a long time. I believe it's what, like 28 years?
Something like that. I lost count.
Okay.
you know,
Um,
over 25. Let's just say that.
over 25.
Back in '97. So let's see, 96. 96, 97, somewhere in there,
I
you know.
think 96 is what it says here, is what I got
Yeah.
wrote.
Okay. Yeah.
May 23rd, 1996.
Okay. Yep. And my first match was in Louisville Gardens, which is
Uh,
really big here in Louisville.
you're in Kentucky?
Yeah, I'm Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. We talked about off air, I know you from the West Virginia region with IWA East Coast. Do you try to just stay around there, or have you been spreading your wings a
No, no.
bit?
Like when I first started out, man, I was hungry. I would jump in the car and go any place. I was going to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was going to Detroit. I was going Tennessee. I was going a lot of places, man, when I first started out, and throughout my career. I've been to 5 different countries and all over the United States 2 or 3 times. I've hit every part. Like I said, I just got really picked wrestling back up, and I just got booked for Hawaii. November 2nd, I'm going over with GCW. Uh, and I'm back on my bike and I'm riding.
Going to the early times, looking at it, it said you were trained by the Moondogs.
Yeah, Rex and Spot.
What was that like?
That was I never been out of Louisville, and these guys Kentucky Sluggers, and they was going down training. So I decided to ride with them. And that's what I'm saying. My story is wild because I used to watch wrestling on Saturday mornings, and all that. I never thought that I would be a wrestler, and accidentally became a wrestler because I was going down there, like I said, with the Kentucky Sluggers. And so they was training. I would just sit on the sideline and I'd watch them train. And then Larry was like, "Get up in here. I want to show him something." And he grabbed me, he whipped me into the rope. I was watching the whole time. I was counting steps and all that because I was just watching, didn't have nothing else to do. And I was watching him train. And he threw me into the ropes. I hit the ropes, grabbed the top rope, come back. And I think he gave me like a back elbow and I bumped. He said, "Kid," he said, "you stay in here." He said, that was pretty good. So he let me stay inside the ring with Robert and Jerry, and uh, and then I trained with them guys for a little bit, and then after that, when I came back, I started working with like BBW, just a little promotion here in Kentucky, who produced JC Bailey.
Okay.
That was Joe Bailey's son was JC Bailey, and I went to work for Joe Bailey, and then they brought a guy in named Bull Payne, and Bull Payne was mean and rough, man. Nobody wanted to work Bull Payne because Like he was a stone cold killer, you know. And my dumb ass, I'd raise my hand every time. They'd be like, "Who wants to work Bull Payne?" And I'd raise my hand, and Bull Payne didn't have no choice but to take a liking to me because I was, the only stupid kid that would raise his hand and get his ass kicked by Bull Payne.
So, who or where would you say you got the hardcore style from? You know, that's what you're probably known for.
Yeah, I would say it had a lot to do with like I'd watch Pondo, I'd watch like my favorite wrestler was Bruiser Brody,
Okay.
and I'd watch lot of things, like the Moondogs were crazy, man, and I'd seen some Japanese stuff, and so I don't think I had a choice. I just think hardcore wrestling chose me, at that time because when we was doing the hardcore wrestling, was nobody else doing it besides Japan. ECW would do a little bit of it, but um, I guess you'd say some Balls Mahoney, fucking uh, fuck. I'm trying to think. Uh, Ian and Axel was doing, the uh well, they wrapped their hands up. Fucking. Oh
Taipei
man,
Deathmatch?
high paid death match. Yes, I couldn't get it out. I had a brain fart.
You're good.
Uh, but just stuff like that. And listen, I wasn't a Brian Danielson. I wasn't a CM Punk. Even though I got a good Punk story, I'll tell you here in a little bit. But I grew up around them guys, and I wasn't, you know, as good as some guys were. So I had to uh notch out something, carve out something to where I would stand out. And that's where I came up with my unique style, the hardcore, and I can wrestle, so when we was doing hardcore, that's what we was doing. We was wrestling, taking hardcore bumps, and people were like, whoa, but the hardcore, like I said, we was doing it when nobody else was doing it, and it was something to see. When you land on a tack or you land on barbed wire, people are like, "Oh, that's real," So there was no faking it.
So, like looking at like some of your early days, especially like in the 90s, I see that you did a little bit of work for ECW, and what was that like?
That was like right when they was getting ready to close too,
Yeah,
and it was cool. Got to hang out with a lot of people, and another person I want to give a shout out to is probably like Tracy Smothers. He was a big influence on me.
rest in peace.
God rest his soul. You know, but it was like Tracy Smothers taking us to ECW, me and Corporal Robinson, uh, and that's when they closed down, right at the tail end of it.
Did you get to work a match in ECW at all?
No, no,
No.
nope, nope.
What I thought, I figured I'd double check. You never know.
Uh-huh.
Looking online, sometimes the facts can be wrong. But
Yeah,
I saw it said you was signed, but never got to do any work. So I
right,
wanted to.
right. That's what I'm saying. That was the whole deal. Is like we was working on a deal and they wound up closing down or whatever. I don't even remember. It's been so long ago that you know. Well, the thing you might be talking about, I w- so I had a WCW tryout,
Okay.
and Vampiro was on top at the time, and Vampiro was a good friend of mine, and I broke my leg the night before. I broke my tibia and fibia the night before fighting outside the tour bus, so that fucked that thing. And I had my first tour of Japan booked through Abdullah the Butcher, and all that got screwed. I was out for about a year, healing up, and then finally got healed up. And got, like I say, I got back on my bike and started riding again. But that them days were fast paced, and if you miss the boat, it keeps going, you know. So, but like I said, I broke my leg, and about I don't know, I healed in about 9 months or something, and then I got that call back again to go to Japan, so I got to go to Japan, you know.
Do you know how many tours you've made over there? I know, like I was talking to Pondo the other day, he's done 50.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think Pondo's a little ahead of me, you
a
know.
little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a full passport, let's just put it that way. I don't know how many stamps that takes. Or maybe two, you know what I'm saying? So
Do you enjoy it over there? I've heard a lot of guys just love
yeah,
wrestling
well,
a lot more than
that's
here.
the thing. Like when me and Pondo was going to Japan when we first started going, they was paying for everything. You know, they was flying us over there, paying us and all that stuff. And then a lot of guys got smart to it. They started paying for themselves and flying themselves over and taking less money bookings, you know. And it kind of screwed it for guys like me and Pondo. But I mean, they still pay for stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like today, like if they wanted me to come back, they would have to fly me over and take care of things. I wouldn't fly
Yeah.
myself over. What else was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say. You know, uh, we're going back to the hardcore. So I left BBW and started work for IWA. IWA Mid South, which was Ian Rotten's promotion,
Okay.
and that's where we got really heavy into the deathmatch scene. And I went from there, and then I started working with the Insane Clown Posse. You know, uh, Started working with TNA uh, when they was at the Nashville Fairgrounds when they first started.
I saw
Uh,
that.
yeah, and you know, I forgot where we was going, but I'm just rambling. Is all I'm doing.
You're good, man. It's your story. I'm just here to help you narrate
Yeah.
it. Um, in Japan, like, is there any big moments or anything like you'd say that, this was my big spot over there?
Yeah, no, we earned our spot over there, me and Pondo. We came up with the name Bakagaji, which
Oh.
meant crazy foreigners or stupid foreigners, and anytime we'd fuck up, do something, they'd be like, "Oh, that's just Bakagaji," you know what I'm saying? And I got to work Kenzo Suzuki as soon as he came off his WWE run. Me and Pondo was the first ones to get to work him, in a death match. He's never did a death match, and we got to do that. Story behind that is me and Pondo sitting back there, and we're Corgan Hall, and that's like our home base. And Kenzo comes back here and he goes, "Hey man, I think I'm pretty good baby face. I think I'm gonna, be baby face today. You guys heal." He's like, me and Pondo looked at each other and we was like, I don't know, man. This is our home base. And so they went out, we go out, we get in the ring, and place goes nuts. They all chant Bakagaji. Over there they love me and Pondo, and so Kenzo gets real close to me, goes, "Okay, y'all baby face." You know what I'm saying? But he's Kenzo Suzuki. He made a nice little run in WWE, or WWF or WWE. But you know, and over in Japan, you're treated like a basketball player, a football player, any big sports. You know, they write about it in the paper just like they write about sports here. Football, baseball, stuff like that. And over there, it's just still real sacred. So you don't fuck around over there, and you're a big athlete over there.
Which, I mean, it's unfair, but over here, I wish it was like that.
Yeah,
Just like,
well, I mean, it's been opened up. Kayfabe's gone. It's just it's still big here, but everything's out in the open now. Over there it's still sacred.
fans here want to be too smart.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Especially when you got fans running promotions.
Yeah.
They're their own champs, and it's you got to start somewhere. And I always say that to people, like these backyard kids, they start someplace, but you got to evolve and come up out of the backyard and like a stepping stone, you know what I'm saying? So, and, you know, it's a new day, new age now. It's a lot different than it was back when I was younger coming into business.
I feel you. Feel you. Is there like any aspect of that that you wish we could get to come back? You know what I mean? Like, is there any old
Uh,
thinking that maybe would help?
well, back when I was younger, you used to be able to travel around and make a good let's say you could use wrestling like a job back then. Nowadays you got to have a job and wrestle unless you're signed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, because these promoters are getting witty nowadays and they're getting smarter. So now they're getting cheap talent and running shows. Like I said, now we got marks running shows. And Trade Smothers used to say the biggest marks are in the back, the boys. Because they used to buy all the gimmicks and all that stuff. You know, but yeah, I wish that it would go back to like territory days. And you don't have that. It's just all independent shots. Because we used to make loops. Like we'd start out on a Tuesday. We work, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then come home on Sundays. I have off Monday and go back and do it again. The internet really fucked a lot of shit up. So it's good and bad.
I feel you. I've heard it's definitely easier to try to get your word out there with the internet, but at the same time, you've got people that take too much advantage of it and screw people out of, what they might deserve.
Yeah, well, of course, it might, like other people's junk's other people's treasure, you know, and it's easy to manipulate somebody, or it's easy to say, hey, come on down here. I'm gonna pay you this much money. Then you get down there and work, and then he don't give you nearly what he gave you or promised you.
Yeah. Um, Earlier you mentioned the ICP, the Insane Clown
Yeah,
Posse.
yeah.
How'd you get to know them guys?
Well, me and Pondo was doing the show for Dan Curtis. Me and Pondo did this show for Dan Curtis, which was ICP's first ever, the guy that let them guys work, Dan Curtis. And we did a memorial show, Dan Curtis Memorial.
Okay.
And ICP, Joe was there. He got to see it. And they were starting Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And he called me a Pondo. And, we was first to start JCW, and me and him's like the only two original guys still left in JCW.
You are what, five-time JCW champion?
Something like
Something like
that.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any of those that stick out as like, that was my like big moment in JCW, or like that's what you're
And
most proud of?
every time I'm in JCW, it's a proud moment. Juggalos are fantastic. I mean, there's nothing bad I can say anytime I step in the JCW ring. And do I need a belt? No, because me and the Juggalos get along just fine. I am their champ. You know what I'm saying? So I've held the tag team belts in JCW. I've held the heavyweight belt in JCW. But I tell you what they got now is the American Championship belt that I'm going to be going after. I want that, to put on my resume.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's good to hear positive things about them because there's so much negative and like it can't all be true, nor do I think most of it's true because I mean from the people that are closest to him I've heard nothing but good things about,
oh yeah,
about them guys.
he's a great dude, man. Him and Joey, Joe and Joey, two awesome guys, man. Uh, I think a lot of it is Juggalo. Period. You know what I'm saying? people don't understand what they don't know, you know. Juggalos give you the shirt off their back. Like at the gatherings, you know, if you're hungry or something, they feed you. If you're thirsty, they give you something to drink. If it's, you know, if you want to smoke some weed or whatever, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna hook you up, man. There's giving, you know, I don't want to say people, they're juggalos, you know. Juggalos is, you know, what I live by, you know, and they've always been good to me.
Got you. That's I don't know. It's nice to see that in the wrestling business because there's so much people taking advantage of people. To have guys like the Juggalos take care of their own is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
that's the thing. I said they get a bad rep, you know what I'm saying? And they've always got a bad rep, and you know it's not fair, you know, to judge somebody before you even know them, you know, and it's not good. That's not good practice, you know. And Juggalo community has always been good to me, you know. So that's why I step in that ring and do, you know, I always go back to JCW, you know, that's my home.
that's what speaking, back past interview, Pondo said the same thing. Like there's two places he's committed to, and it's JCW and
Mhm.
it's Big Japan. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it seems like you guys are pretty much both with, hey, JCW's home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. You know, and just like I said, Japan's my home too. You know, I could probably go back at any time, you know, but when you got it, when you got kids and stuff, and you know, it's more of a, I missed out on a lot of stuff, man, going to Japan. I missed out on my daughter's birthdays. I missed Christmases, but that's part of the, when you become a wrestler, you're going to miss things like that. And that's what I tell these kids when we're training them. You know, there's a lot of important stuff you're going to miss out on because you chose wrestling, you know, and, you know, wrestling not promised nothing, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, like wrestling is probably like a good girlfriend, but a bad girlfriend, you know. It's almost like, it's hard to explain, man. You know, I love it so much, but I hate her so much. You know what I'm saying?
I
It's like,
understand.
yeah, uh,
I've heard it's like being
but
married.
yeah, no, 100%, a
That's
hundred
what
percent.
best analogy I've ever heard. It's like getting married.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like getting married, you know. You know, but it's been good to me, man. You know, and that's what I'm saying. I started Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy to give these younger guys a place to come and train and get trained right. You know, going back to the hardcore. So I don't do hardcore no more. You know, I would, but I don't. I wrestle. You know, I run a family fun oriented show in my building. There's no cussing, no blood. It's crazy because I made my name off the hardcore style and doing hardcore stuff, and it's swapped out these days. You know, and I tell these kids all the time, you don't have to bleed, you know, to be a good wrestler. You don't have to do hardcore to be a good wrestler. But some of the kids, like some of my kids, the bruisers, they chose to go to the hardcore, you know, way of hardcore, which I'm not knocking them. I'm just telling them there's other options out there, you know. And don't get me wrong, is I love hardcore wrestling, you know, but today, this time, right now in my life, I'm not doing no hardcore wrestling.
Probably better on your body, huh?
Yeah, yeah, you know, and people ask me all the time, how do you do it? I don't think about it. I just go. It's like going to work. I go in there, do my job, get it done, and then come on, you know, get out and go home. You know, I never thought about it because that's when you get hurt, when you start thinking about it. You know, I've been doing it long enough to know what I can use, what uh what I can use, what I can do to keep me safe and keep my opponent safe. You know, I worked Nate Webb in IWA, and I cut my wrist. I cut a main artery, and uh, I knew Ian Rotten wasn't going to pay the bill, So I went to the hospital under a fake name because I didn't have the money at the time to pay for all that. Cut my wrist pretty bad. It was just like a faucet, and you can probably pull that match up. But it was me and Nate Webb, and I cut it real bad. So I watched Sabu versus Terry Funk, and when he ripped his bicep open and he taped it up.
in the barbed wire
So in my
match.
head, yes. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'll get me some tape, tape it up, I'll be okay. Not thinking how bad the injury was. And so I taped it up. I did about another 10, 12 minutes with Nate Webb. And I come in the back, and it was a pretty bad cut. And so they had, got the guy's name, but he was like a paramedic. And he taped my stuff up, and it was solid white. As I was holding my hand up over my head, it wouldn't bleed. But I remember like coughing or something, and then looking over, and it was filled red again. So he's like, "Man, Tony, you're gonna have to go to the hospital." So that's why I went in there. It's Tony something. I think like Tony Brown or something, and I gave him my social security number and put the last four off, something like that. The only thing was I couldn't get no pain medicine or no kind of medicine, because I didn't have no ID or nothing. But I didn't care as long as it got fixed.
Yeah.
So
Would you say that's the worst in ring incident you've had, or has there been?
yeah, I would. I mean, I've been knocked out plenty of times. That was probably one of the worst ones I've had. Cutting the main artery. I could have died right there in the ring. Could have bled to death. You know, I'm sure I've had. Oh, I don't know which eye it was. I did a moonsault to the floor, and the dudes caught me by my feet, and I went face first into the concrete. Split my eye. Got like, I don't know, 25, 30 stitches across my eye. But I'd say that the cut on my wrist was probably the worst one.
Going back once again to the you said you did work with for TNA.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was that like? What'd you do?
It was good. That's when TNA first started out, and Jeff Jarrett was signing my checks. So that was cool. You know, uh, I worked with Disco Inferno. I worked with Monty Brown. I
Okay.
worked with David Young and Kid Cash. And it was me and ICP. We did a 6-man deal, and ICP had to go back out on tour, so that was their deal. They come into a company, they work a little bit, then they bounce. And Joe and them try to get me to stay, and I was working with ICP at the time, and I was like, "Nah, man, I would, but I gotta go. I'm gonna go with you guys." You know what I'm saying? So I left with ICP. But
Like with that, do you think there would have been more for you there if you didn't go
yeah,
with
no,
that?
no, there was 100% more there for me.
Okay.
But I chose to go with my boys. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I was touring with them, and I was one of the clowns in the concert. So I didn't want to leave them out. You know what I'm saying? So I went with them, and I figured they came back, I'd get to come back. And you know we went to Turning Point, TNA Turning Point. It was me, uh, Joe, Joey, Scott Hall, and they was going to bring us back to do something else, but I think we had a little too much to drink that night, and Scott Hall grabbed Vince Russo up by the throat, and so I don't think while Vince Russo was there, they wasn't going to use us no more. So we was down at that's when they first went down to Florida and started doing their tapings out of Orlando, and yeah, thanks Scott Hall, God rest his soul too. You know what I'm saying?
I was
Uh,
actually going to ask about. I'm a huge Razor Ramon fan, Scott Hall
yeah.
fan. Not gonna lie, brought me to tears when I found out he passed. Do you
Hey,
have
me
a
too,
good,
bro.
you got a good
Me,
Scott Hall story?
yes, I do. I got a man. That great human being. He would never let me buy nothing, man. He'd always eat cold turkey sandwiches. He'd be like, "Let me buy you a turkey sandwich." I'd be like, "No, I want something hot and fat." He's like, "No, I just eat cold turkey sandwiches." Uh, the one story I got. So we're out filming that movie, Big Money Rustlers, with
Okay.
ICP, and me and Scott got to stay, with each other. So we all decided to go watch that movie, The Wrestler. And so I'm sitting there, and Scott Hall's beside me, and I'm watching The Wrestler, and I'm looking over because that's him. You know what I'm saying? Had the world by the ass. He was the real deal, man. That was Scott Hall from NWO. And I'm sitting right next to him, and I'm watching The Wrestler because he had all the money in the world. But he's right beside me, and I'm looking over, and I'm watching this fucking movie. I'm like, man, that's him. You know what I'm saying? And that's wrestling, man. But you know, he I got to meet Cody, his son. You know, and nice kid, man. And I hope he's doing really good because I ain't heard nothing or anything out of him. I hope he's still doing really good. And man, he had a good pops, man. Scott was the man. He was the man for a reason because he was one of a kind, you know. And but anyway, get back to the story.
You're
I'm
good.
sitting next to fucking Scott Hall watching the fucking wrestler, who this movie's probably portrayed him. You know what I'm saying? He had the world by the ass, and then comes back down to real life, loses all that money or whatever, and going back in it, do another time. You know what I'm saying? Give that last run, and you know, I got to become real good friends there with Scott.
It's incredible because these are people that meant so much to us or the rest of the world to be able
Yeah,
to share a story like that. I mean, it's wholesome. And we don't get a
yeah,
lot of that in wrestling. You usually get some BS like partying story. Just to hear some wholesome moment is great.
yeah. No, and like I said, I got to do a lot of things in wrestling, man, and wrestling's been really good to me, and I'm going to keep referring back to Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy because that's my way of giving back to the wrestling world. They say you always leave it better than you found it, and that's what I've been doing. I was been cleaning up and making it better, you know.
So I've been only interviewed a couple wrestlers so far, but I've been trying to ask, who would you say you're like, if you could name them, like top, 4 or 5 opponents you've ever got to tangle up with?
Wow, man, I got to wrestle a lot of guys, man.
Yeah,
Uh, fuck.
that's a tough one.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm gonna have to sit here and rattle my brain. My main the guy I was married to the most and I loved working was me and Pondo. That's before we started teaming. Pondo brought me in a lot of places, man, and we always had great matches, and so would have to be number one. Another guy I feuded with was Trent Acid.
Okay.
Trent Acid, he was out of Philly and all that. The Backseat Boys, CZW, uh, you know, and God rest his soul. You know what I'm saying? So that was two. Got to work. Trying to think. Kenzo Suzuki was a good one. I got to work Mr. Pogo. You know,
Okay.
uh, you know, and there's a lot of them, man. A lot of them I don't forgot. Which good matches. It's just that I went in and did my job. Been got to be put in a position to go out and have a match with a good dude. Trying to think. Uh, Barbarian and Warlord.
Okay, that's a good one.
Oh, I know another one, man. I got to do. It was me and Tommy Dreamer versus Rakishi and Brian Christopher.
Oh, oh
You
shoot,
know,
that's good.
yes, that was probably one of my favorite ones. I really didn't know Rakishi that good, but I knew Brian really well, and I knew Tommy Dreamer really good. And they was really proud of me. Some of the shit that I did. And he was like, "Holy God!" Rakishi just put me over big time. And that was one of the great matches I had. I worked Tommy Dreamer numerous times all over the world. Um, man, I don't not really one six out, sticks out or whatever, but there's a lot of them. You know, I can't even I couldn't even tell you how many fucking matches I've had. A lot of people keep track of a lot of shit, their wins and losses, and how many matches I had. I never did that because I'm going in. I'm just happy to be able to get in there and work. That was just something I never did. I didn't keep track of nothing. And trying to think, man. I got to work. I don't know if you know who Brain Damage is.
Brain dead.
God,
Yes,
yes, God rest his soul. You know what I'm saying?
I really
Uh,
enjoyed his work. He did some
yeah,
great
man.
shit.
He was. Listen, he was legit tough. He's like Necro Butcher tough.
I've seen,
Okay,
look, I've watched his CZW highlights 1,000 times. Just insane.
and did you ever watch that Samoa Joe versus Necro
Necro,
Butcher?
love it.
Yes.
I love
Right.
it.
Crazy. And I
Necro
worked
is
with
somebody
Joe.
I've watched like forever because he's also from West Virginia. So
Yeah,
like he's one of those guys like I gotta stay true to my roots and guys
yeah,
like him or Jamie Noble.
yeah, yeah.
Just to
There you
name
go.
a
That's
couple.
another good one.
But those are guys that I've paid attention. And Necro is still going today, and it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. He just got over a fucking broken hip or whatever,
Beat
and
cancer.
yeah, beat cancer. Fucking one of the legit toughest guys I know. Every time I got in the fucking ring with that guy, man, I was fighting for my life. You know what I'm saying? Because you know he, he's just tough, man. You can't hurt that guy. Like you said, he beat cancer, broken hip, and he's back in the fucking ring again.
XPW. I think he just won the XPW championship.
Yes, yes, and he
Yep.
should have,
Yep.
should have.
He's earned it.
There ain't no, there ain't nobody tougher than that motherfucker. He's God, man.
I
He's
He was probably the first person I've seen do like the barefoot in the glass,
yes, yes.
barefoot in the tacks, like
Let
and
me
like
tell you.
now you see it sometimes, but he did it every night.
Listen, let me tell you my secret fight Necro. Cut him off and use the shit on him. Anytime we go do something, you gotta cut him off and use it on him. Okay, that's what I used to do. Run for your fucking life. You know,
That's like I'd
they
say
forgot they forgot to tell Necro it's fake.
you
Okay, because when he punches you, he punches you. It
you
ain't,
keep telling that Joe match, Joe versus they literally are beating the shit out of each
bro, bro. I was blowed up watching that match.
other. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably like the most like
The stiffest. And
stiffest hits to
there's
the
a
face.
backstory to that. You know what I'm saying? There's a backstory to that match. You
Okay,
know, you just have to look it up and see. I'm not going to tell it, but
fair enough.
there was a backstory to that match.
My dream would be to have Necro on here talking so he could tell me. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's one.
I'm sure if you keep probing around a little bit, you can get Necro. He's a good dude. Dylan is a great dude, man. very kind, and been around him a long time. When he first came down to IWA, he came from Texas
Okay.
down to IWA. And then that's when from IWA, he went to West Virginia, when he moved down here to Louisville. And then he moved out to West Virginia. But
Okay.
yeah, Dylan's good people, man.
I'm glad he's still getting his what he deserves because he's like you
Yeah,
said a
well, I mean, he
person
deserves his flyers. You know what I'm saying?
beating
Pondo
the shit out of
deserves his
stuff.
flyers. All these guys who's still in the business, over 20, 25 years, they deserve flyers, man. They deserve to be put up on that pedestal, you know, because we're in a business that will eat you up and spit you out, and to be able to have that long of a career in this business is a blessing, You think about it, man, all the old school guys, that's all they knew was wrestling, because that's all they ever did, you know. And like I said earlier, when I said new day, new age, is you got to have a job and wrestle unless you're signed. You know, back then it was all wrestling. That's how you made your money. And a lot of these guys, they started doing it and they ended, doing it. You know, so like I said, Joe, all these guys, man, they deserve flyers, man. They deserve all the recognition they can get because they've been around this independent scene. Uh, some people ain't cut out for WWE. Some people ain't cut out for AEW. Some people ain't cut out for WCW when it was here, but they made their own path and, made it, you know. We're some of the guys that made it, even though we didn't hit a big fad and make big money. You know, you know. Like I said, I'm glad Necro, Pondo, they deserve them flyers, man. You know.
Feel you, and you deserve yours, man.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not the one. I like giving them. I don't, I like giving. I don't like taking. You
I
know,
respect that.
yeah, and I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't expect nothing. You know, long as my bills are paid and my kids are taken care of, I'm happy. And like I said, wrestling did a lot of that for me. Wrestling ICP did a lot of that for me. That's why I'm so loyal to them guys. It's like what you said, Pondo said. That's me. I'm loyal to them guys, man. They've been nothing but good to me. How do you shit on somebody that's been good to you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Same way with wrestling. How do I shit on wrestling when it's been so good to me? And I'm I'm I love wrestling. And I hate wrestling because it's fucked me too. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's a love hate relationship. I love it
definitely.
right now.
So earlier you mentioned that you took a hiatus and now you're back. Would you like to tell us why you took the hiatus and what brought you back?
Well, my family. I had to make a choice. I started. I knew I wouldn't wrestle forever. And so my father had a lawn care business. I started my own lawn care business, and it started taking off really good. And so I had to make a choice. Wrestling was plan A, lawn care was plan B, and they swapped. Now my lawn care business is plan A, wrestling is plan B. And like I said, the love hate relationship. I love wrestling right now, but I hate lawn care right now. You know what I'm saying? And but I'm trying to juggle it all. And try to keep everybody happy. Like I said, the reason why I got back into wrestling is because I got my 10-year-old son. He's a huge wrestling fan, and I want to be able to take him out and do some bookings and let him travel the world with me a little bit. I didn't get to do that with my daughter, and like I said earlier, I missed a lot of Christmases. I missed a lot of birthdays. I missed a lot of special stuff that I should have got to see, but I didn't because I was entertaining uh, other people or fans or whatever. And I felt like I was selfish. You know what I'm saying? Because it was all about me and it wasn't about my family. And so I decided to slow down the wrestling. I didn't quit because I was still, taking a few bookings here and there. So I would take bookings when I felt like wrestling, and it would work in between my work and my family, and I was able to do it. And so that's kind of like where I'm at now. When I went back to wrestling and people knew I was back to wrestling, that's when GCW called me. That's when JCW called, you know, and I took them up on their offers, and now I'm getting back into the swing of things, and right now my lawn care business is starting to slow down a little bit, and I can take these bookings, so that's what I'm doing.
Is there so you working with GCW? How's it like working with them guys? Because I've heard bad and I've
Man,
heard good.
listen, man, Brett, uh, he calls me up and goes, well, I got a buddy here that promotes a lot of shows around here, concerts and all that. His name's Terry Harper. And Brett reaches out to me and goes, hey, Terry and me's going to run the show down in Louisville. You got your Louisville license? And I'm like, yeah, but I was lying like a motherfucker, and I was like, yeah, I got my Louisville license. I wasn't going to get them. I was just going to do the show. You know what I'm saying? And Terry called me up one go. He goes, what's your number? Your license number. And I said 537, which it was my license number. Now they're like 16,000 or something like that in numbers for licenses. And he goes, okay. He goes, because the commissioner's going to be there. So I'm like, fuck, you know. I didn't want to be an asshole and get pulled off the show, so I went and got my Kentucky license. And so anyway, I do the show in Louisville, and Brett was like, "Man, you still got it." And I was like, "Yeah, I felt good." I got to work John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley, and it was me and Manders, and so we had a good showing. And then Brett goes, "Look, I got some more dates for you if you want them." I was like, "All right, I'll take them." So we just got through doing. We did Detroit, and then we did Rochester, New York. And after the Rochester show, he pulls me to the side. He goes, "Hey man, I'm gonna get with you next week and give you some more dates. You cool?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm cool." And then I get a call. He booked me for. I get booked for Hawaii. And then I got booked for the Atlantic City shows in New Jersey, October 12th and 13th. And then, like I said, the Hawaii show is November 2nd. And then we got Louisville again, November 14th, and then St. Louis the 15th. So I like his schedule. It's a few days a weekend. They have to take off to the following weekend. So it's mainly weekends, so I can still get my work in during the week and still be able to do that. But then now here comes JCW. So we got this tour coming up that starts October 23rd. It's like a 8-day run tour. It's a terror wheel train, terror train wheel. Or hold on, I'm saying that I'm all fucked up. I just told JCW's got 8 shows, and they're
I
doing
just
like a
saw them post
convoy.
that.
Yeah, and they're doing like a convoy to each fucking show. And so it's gonna be a long train,
Okay.
all the juggalos and the tour buses and stuff. And we're going to do JCW every day when they do the shows.
Okay.
So, that's gonna be a dope ass fucking deal, you know.
So, I asked Pondo this with working with GCW. There's a
Uh-huh.
guy at the top of the card that calls himself the Deathmatch King.
Yeah, Matt Cardona.
How do you feel about Cardona calling himself that?
I'm cool with that, man. Listen, Matt Cardona's money, man. Think about this. If you got Matt Cardona on your card, he's drawing a lot of eyes.
It's
The
selling
thing with
out.
yeah, well, the thing with Matt Cardona is he's smart on that internet and he puts it out like a WrestleMania. You see what I'm saying? Anytime wherever he's going, he's on that social media, firing it up, and he draws a lot of eyes. So if anybody's listening or anything, book Matt Cardona because he's going to bring a lot of eyes to your show, and you know, uh, and a nice guy. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think it's interesting because a lot of people probably wouldn't see him as a deathmatch guy.
Right, but
He's
that's
done
the
his
thing.
thing though.
He came from WWE, and then he comes to GCW, does the wrestling, and then turns around and does a death match. And motherfuckers are just like, "Holy, what the fuck?" You know what I'm
I
saying?
couldn't believe it.
Right? Think about
First
that.
time he goes to a glass plane, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, think about that. Smart business. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Smart fucking business.
And it's not like he does it every night. It's a hey,
You
big
don't
moment,
have to.
big night. I'll
You
go
don't
out
have
and
to.
I'll do this.
Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because he can
Smart man.
wrestle. Smart man. Yes. And look at how many eyes he turned. They're like, oh shit, Matt Cardona did a death match. You know what I'm saying? So he did what he was supposed to do. He was smart about it, and calling himself the deathmatch king. Motherfuckers are like, you ain't no fucking deathmatch king. You know, who gives him the right to say he ain't? You know,
I think the coolest aspect of it all, and it might just be me being a fan, is to call himself the Deathmatch King, but then to look like Randy Savage the whole time. You
yeah,
got
right,
it.
right. A smart, larger than life characters. You know what I'm saying? The most outrageous thing you can do, make a motherfucker look. You know what I'm saying? Make a motherfucker look. You know, he's
I
smart.
it's incredibly smart, and like it's definitely good for the business or good for GCW. Like it just gets eyes to companies or places you never heard of. Because honestly, I didn't hear outside of like the Nick Gage David Arquette situation that happened a couple years
Mhm.
ago. I didn't hear of GCW, and then Cardona's there
Yeah,
doing things
yeah.
with Nick Gage and John Moxley, and it's
So I look at Game Changer Wrestling like the ODCW.
yes.
They would do a lot of touring. You know what I'm saying? They would tour, 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 tour. That's Game Changer. That's Brett's fucking ideal. The thing with Game Changer Wrestling, GCW, Brett's all he got to do is say, "Hey, I'm coming to North Carolina." He don't even put up a fucking card, and it's
And
sold
sold
out.
out.
Yeah, he he
I
he knows his product. He knows his product, and he knows his fans. So
Look, I tried to go to one whenever they was up in Chicago not too long ago. Couldn't even already sold out.
yeah, yeah.
I forget who was on the card, but it didn't matter
It
because
didn't matter
like
who was on the card. That's
it's an
what I'm saying.
experience.
But
It'd
yeah,
be like
but
going to
that
ECW.
that they that and they know he's going to bring a fucking show.
Yep.
So there is no doubt about it that GCW is on top of their game right now. Brett's a smart man. He's doing what he's supposed to do.
And I'm sure you're enjoying being a part of it.
Yeah, 100%. I feel right at home in there. With Effie, Manders, Mance. See, I was Mance Warner's fucking I think his 13th match he ever had
Okay.
down there at IWA, and I'm so proud of that kid, and I call him a kid because I'm older than he is. But and he's doing his thing, man. I'm very proud of him, from when he first came in to where he's at now. He's killing it. the '80s WCW. So his gimmicks down pat, and he's doing his thing.
I know earlier we was talking and you mentioned you had a CM Punk story.
Yeah, yeah.
As a guy who's out in Chicago now, I'd love to hear it.
Well, okay. So I worked for Carmel Despirito, and it was we used to work in West Dallas, and trying to think what the name of the company was. Uh, Midwest. No, oh, shit. I forgot the fucking name of the company. But we used to go up and work all the time, and so this blonde headed kid comes in with I think Ace Steel or whatever, and I got CM Punk, and I got to work CM Punk when he first came into the company, and you know that was the first time I really met him, and then he started coming down to IWA, and him, Dave Prazak, uh, Colt Cabana, Ace Steel. There was another kid called Chucky Smooth. They used to ride
Oh,
around with
Chunky
him.
Smooth.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you know, uh, I beat Punk. You know, that's that's my story. I beat Punk.
So two
You
tough
know,
Tonys, the real best in the world.
that's right. That's when he still had his Pepsi tattoo. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
His Pepsi Cola tattoo. But no, I knew he was a star. You know what I'm saying? As that kid started working, he was just one of the one of a kinds. I knew he was going to be a big star. Just when you work with these guys, and you just know some of them's got it, and some of them don't. You know what I'm saying? And he definitely had it. You know what I'm saying? And he was a master of his craft. It was so I owned a duplex down in Louisville, and I used to rent one of my. I had a duplex, so I would stay upstairs and I rent the bottom apartment out. And Mark Wolf, which was friends with Chris Hero, and they all used to go downstairs. And they study tapes, man. It would be CM Punk, Chris Hero, Colt Cabana, Mark Wolf, all staying down in that little apartment, and they would study tapes. Uh, just a master of the crafts. And they was good, man. Let's just put it that way. And I knew they had something, and Punk deserves everything he gets, man, because he was one of the guys that had it. He can rip the mic up, he can wrestle, so there should be no reason why he wasn't signed.
Definitely. Um, Going off, just getting into the end of things. Um, One of like the last two questions I'll ask.
Okay.
One, dream match. If you had, two or three dream matches that you haven't had yet, dead or alive, who would you go with?
Man, I'd love to work Tracy Smothers one more time. You know, uh, Tracy Smothers wrestled a fucking bear, bro. A
He's one of
fucking
those
bear.
guys I was so glad I got to watch. Not because of what you see on TV, but just before and after that match, he's one of those guys that would interact with anybody. Like 5-year-old
Yeah,
me having a full interaction with Tracy Smothers is something I'll
yeah.
never forget.
Uh, I don't even know, man. I really, probably you probably gonna think I'm fucking weird, but I don't know. I don't have no dream matches, man. I mean,
Respectable. Not gonna
you
lie.
know, what I'm saying. If it happens, I'm just one of the people. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. You know what I'm saying? And uh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know is an acceptable answer.
I don't know. You know.
Respect, like I like I'm sure it had it. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I can tell you're very humble and you don't get
Yeah.
a lot in this business. There's a lot of guys that could be considered full
Well,
of
that's what I
themselves.
teach my kids. I tell them all the time, man. a matter of fact, we trained Billy Starks. You know who Billy Starks is?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. We trained Billy Starks,
Okay.
and I knew that kid had it from the first day she came in at 14. She came to us at 14 and wanted to be a wrestler, told us exactly what she was going to do.
And
And she went out and did it, and I'm very proud of her, man. The thing with us is she was 14, but she had uh, uh, something about her that made her a lot older than what she was. She knew exactly. She had that drive and determined. Like the CM Punks and all that. She breathed, she ate, breathed, and slept wrestling. That she knew what she wanted in her life, and that's why she went out and got it. I'm very proud of her, man. Uh, Hollywood J, Holly J.
I've heard of her. I watched
That,
the
that,
OVW series they had on
yeah,
Netflix.
yeah, Netflix, yes. And Ronnie Roberts is one of my trainers,
Okay.
and she's a Grindhouse student. She graduated from Grindhouse, and there's a lot of guys out there that's going to see a lot of Grindhouse students. Because we put our dedication, and like I said, I got good trainers. Uh, Ronnie Roberts, my head trainer. Mitchell Huff, he's another trainer, and I'm in talks with. Well, I talked to him. I don't know if I should tell anybody. You know who Myron Reed is, right?
Think so. It
The
sounds
young goat, the young goat, Myron Reed,
okay.
Myron Reed. Uh, I'm working on him, trying to get him over there too. Because I want these kids to have the best of the best. If they're going to take it serious and do it, I want them to be trained right. And you talk about humble. That was the story I was getting at. Is I teach my kids be humble all the way up because you don't know who's going to be your boss the next day when you're coming back down. So if you're an asshole as you're going up, climbing this ladder, you got to come down that ladder. It's easy to get on top. It's hard to stay on top. And so I teach them to be humble, man, because like I said, you don't know who's going to be your boss on the way back down. When you're that asshole going up, being an asshole to everybody, and you come back down. Now you're running into them, everybody's that you was an asshole to, and nobody wants to work with you. And it's going to be good, man. Wrestling's in a good place right now. So I think we're going to be okay.
Good to hear that. And just my final question would be, you just got any advice for anybody that's striving to be a wrestler, maybe, looking to get
Yeah,
into
go
business?
go go do your homework on these training schools, man.
Okay.
Me coming up, you got green kids training green kids, now they're wrestlers. You know, uh, do your homework, go to a school, get trained right, learn your craft. Do I understand if you live in Iowa or whatever, there's only one school there, but be smart about it. If you're going to give somebody your money, make sure it's reputable. Make sure that they've been a wrestler, they've been around the world, they've did stuff. Just do your homework and just don't give anybody your money. A lot of these guys are out here to, like we said earlier, they're out here to fucking take from you. There's a lot of givers out here, man, and don't get taken. Don't let somebody who ain't been nowhere say, "Oh, I could train you." No, go to a reputable company, go to a reputable school, and get trained right. And you'll be very much happier. When they say, "Well, who trained you?" They're gonna be like, "Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy." Okay, cool. Come on, we're good. Or Two Tough Tony. Hey, we're good. I know Tony. Instead of Mark Black or Johnny Reed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That nobody knows and they did nothing. It goes back to the marks starting their own wrestling companies. The marks are, are I use word mark loosely, you know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking nobody. And
Sure.
but somebody who's really never been trained and now all of a sudden they got a wrestling school or they got a wrestling company, and just be smart about your business and be smart about what you do because it'll come back and screw you if not. You'll be out all this money and and get trained bad. Go to the best ones you can get to. And just be honest with yourself. If you're going to do it, do it. If you ain't going to do it, don't do it. That's the thing I think happened with wrestling. You had green guys training green guys. Now anybody's a wrestler. It used to be real sacred. We was talking about that earlier. You was talking about what happened over here is anybody could be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Over there, just anybody can't be wrestlers.
No.
So that's the difference. And and I think that uh, if you apply your craft and learn it, you can do good in wrestling. Uh, but just and another thing, stay humble. Always always be humble. Always be quiet, listen. Because you're gonna learn more listening to somebody than you are ask, talking or whatever. If a lot of times when you listen and you want to say something, they're gonna answer that question that you got by just listening. And you don't get no reputation by being an asshole. You know, so but I think that I think that you know if you're gonna do it, do it. If not, don't fuck with it. Stay behind the barricades. You know,
Gotcha.
but, if you want to do it, try it. I always tell everybody, try it. See if you like it. Don't sit back and say what if. Don't you know? Don't sit back and say what if. Do it. That way you can say I tried it, I liked it, or I didn't like it. You know, and that's the thing with like Grindhouse, man. I grew up poor, and I do like a $300 down payment on the training school, and I charge them monthly. But that's because I grew up poor and didn't have no money, and I couldn't have went to a real training school. Like I said, I got lucky. I got lucky and got trained by guys that knew I didn't have no money, but they knew I had the heart for it. And so I made it feasible to come to my school, and try. Like I said, and I'm getting back to where I said, you know, try it because you never know if you're going to like it or not. Not, and I figure that's very reasonable for somebody to come in and try it. If they don't like it, they ain't out the fucking $4,500 for somebody's going to charge them to train, and then you only out $300. So you ain't as mad as you would be if you was out 4,500.
Yeah,
You know? So,
definitely, definitely. That's actually probably the best price I've done my looking.
yeah.
And you'd think in the Chicagoland area there'd be a good one with a reasonable price, but so far they all want
What
to.
what are they charging in Chicago?
Cheapest school I've found is 1,300 for one
Uh,
month,
1 month,
6 weeks. It's
6 weeks.
1,300 for
Okay.
6 weeks. The only thing is with this place is if they like to take you in and then have you pay the 1,300, train you and then keep you there under like a not a contract but like a handshake agreement. Don't work anywhere else or we won't train you type deal.
Right, right.
I actually just did an interview early today with a guy that came from there. And I'm glad I talked to him because he let me know the insides of their little training scam.
Yeah,
So
right.
there's a lot
That's
of
what I'm
those around here.
right. There's a lot of scams, just like you're saying. And I think we're very reasonable, like doing a $300 deposit, first up front to come in. And then I think we charge $150 a month. You know what I'm saying? And we got like there's and that whole month you can do 12 or 14 sessions, for that whole month. You see what I'm
Ooh,
saying? So
I might
we
have to
train,
drive down there.
right? But what I'm saying is that we train Wednesday nights, Friday mornings, and Sundays.
Okay.
And so it's 3 days a week that you get training in. And where I was getting at being you know, $300 and $150 a month, and we know when you're ready. The trainers know when you're ready.
Okay.
And we have a show once a month. We do the the fourth Sunday of the month, and when the kids are ready to get on there, we put them on the show. So they get working. And I do birthday parties too there at the Grindhouse, so they can do the birthday parties for the kids. For having a birthday. So it's like a birthday party show, and then I send them up to Illinois, up to Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling. A buddy of mine runs that. We send them different places to get some reps in. So they can practice their craft, but not till they're ready. We don't try to hold nobody back. But we train them right. We know, like I said, we know when they're ready. So it's like a lot of them are in there for a year, a lot of them in there for a year and a half, 2 years sometimes. But uh, when you're ready, you're ready. Some people learn faster than others. Some of them get it faster than others, and we know that. So everybody's different. Is what I'm trying to say. And you know, I'm going to go back to getting a reputable school that's going to help you, not just take your fucking money. A lot of them want you to fucking pay that money up front, come
Yeah.
in. We hope you fucking leave. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of them. I've heard that, especially around here. I went
Yeah.
to probably four in the northern Illinois area, trying to asking around, hey, what do you do? What do you charge? And it's
Mhm.
usually anywhere from like I said, 1,300. I've got all the way up to 2,500. And then you'll talk to some of the guys on the show, and they're like, hey, kid, if you want to do this, they're gonna beat the shit out of you, and they're gonna make
Yeah.
you want to leave. And if you can stay through it, they'll train you.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell. I'm a beg to differ because here's what I'm saying is because when I was training, they really beat the fuck out of me. Okay. Nowadays, it's like you can't do that no more. With the culture cancel and all that shit.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, uh, can you be rough on them? Yes, because you want them to learn. But there's a difference between beating the shit out of them and
Being a little
rough them
rough.
up a little bit. Yeah, being a little rough, or put them in a hole, stretching them. You know, just showing them what it's like. And a lot of times you're gonna make them leave like that. I don't know, man. I've got weak at my old age, I think.
Hey, it
But
happened.
yeah, I want everybody to stay, man. I want everybody to fucking live their dream, and join the grind. That's what I always say. That's my slogan. Live the dream, join the grind. In our
Like
our, our Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy. And we're doing good things down there, man, Jeffersonville. And if anybody's listening and want to come check it out, look us up, grindhouseprowrestling.com. And come check out a show or something. Our shows are extension from our training, and we handpick the guys we bring in, to help the kids out. So, it's a good thing, man. And I'm proud of my guys. I'm proud of wrestling, and we're gonna be around a long time now since I bought into the building. So
before we go, is there anything else you'd like to plug? Like, as far as your social medias or upcoming
yeah,
events?
I'd say I'm not on all that shit.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm not. I always redirect everything to Grindhouse Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
On Facebook, you can reach me on there. Check out GCW. Check out JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. If we come close, holler at me, man. I'm a good dude. I'll talk to everybody, and I don't. talk no bullshit. I'm gonna shoot you straight, and it is what it is in my world. I sleep good at nighttime. You know what I'm saying? Knowing I don't fuck nobody, and I do what's right. So you know, thank you for having me on the ILW pod.
Thank you.
And where's your brother at?
He's not here with me right now. He's with my dad, but the boys
Tell,
get
tell him I'm
on for
pissed
me.
off. Tell him I'm pissed off. I didn't get to talk to him because I'm a fan of his.
You know what? If I can get you back on here, I'll make sure he's over here and you can talk to
All
him.
right, that'll work. That'll work, man. That'll work. What's your brother's name?
It's Nathaniel, but his ring
Nathaniel.
name is Nasty
Yeah.
Nate.
Tell Nasty Nate, Too Tough Tony versus Nasty Nate. Okay.
Let's book it.
Yeah, we're gonna get that done. I'm gonna put him over though. He seems like a good kid.
I don't know. I might have to beat his ass.
I don't know. It looked like he beat your ass
Oh, he
earlier.
got me. He got me
Yeah.
good. No, but
But no, I thank you for having me on, man. And just let me explain. I know I just ramble, man. Fucking that's one of the reasons why I don't like doing interviews and all that shit, because I just ramble, and then you ask me something, I'll bounce off someplace fucking else and then go into something else, and I don't know, man. At the end of the fucking day, man, I love wrestling and I hate wrestling. But like I said, I love it right now because I'm out doing it, and I'm a family man. I love my kids, and you know, and I love wrestling.
I
I love
respect.
wrestling, man. I
Those
love
are the
wrestling.
two most
Wrestling
important
was
things in
good to
my
me.
life.
Wrestling's been good to me, man. Like I said, I got to go to Australia, Puerto Rico, Germany, Japan, Mexico. Oh, I got to go to Huvitoot's, well, it was either his grandpa or his dad's birthday party, man, when we was in Mexico. He was really good to me, man. Um, I'm fucking got to do a lot of shit wrestling, man. I got to travel the world wrestling, and I wouldn't change nothing. I'd do it all over again. My next life, I hope I'm a bigger star than wrestler than, I was here. I don't, it, fucking wrestling, man, I'll tell you.
But it sounds like as we're going to need a Too Tough Tony Part 2 episode.
Maybe. Hey, I'll be down to do it. I'll just get on and we're just going to call it the Rambling Man
But
because
we'll
I'm just
shoot the
going to
shit. We'll
ramble.
call it shooting the
Yeah,
shit.
shoot the shit. Yeah, have your dad on here and your brother on here. We're all going to get
We'll
together and
just have a big
bullshit.
meeting.
Yeah, we call it bullshit.
Tony, I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, man. And listen, reach out to Necro, man. I'm sure he wouldn't mind doing that for you, man. Once you tell him I've been on here and Pondo's been on here, I'm sure Necro's a good dude, man. He'll hook you up. Dylan's one of a kind, man. Uh, you know, and you saying Illinois, look up Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling.
Strictly insane.
It's probably a little bit lower from you, but like going towards Evansville.
Shoot,
He
the
ain't got no
drive's a
training
drive. I'll
for it.
take it.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. I go up and work for him sometimes too. So, like to have you over there, man. You
Of
know,
course. I'd like
bring that, bring Nasty Nate down there so I kick his ass.
that. Look, I'll do it. I'll look out for you, man.
Yeah, no, it's all good, brother. And
Thank you.
I appreciate everything. Thanks for thinking of me, man. And keep giving Necro and Pondo and all them flyers, man, because they deserve it. It's good dudes, man.
I would like to say that's the point of the podcast is, those
Yeah.
guys I've connected with, like yourself.
Mhm.
I think a lot of them get their recognition or their flowers. And that's what this is for, man. Wrestling is the most important thing in my life. I love it. I won't say most important. There's God, there's my family, but it's up there.
Yeah,
Top
yeah,
three or
yeah,
four,
right.
it's up there.
You enjoy it, right, right. It's something you enjoy, and
I wouldn't say
why
it's a
not?
hobby, it's my life. Like,
Right, right. What that's what I'm saying. Don't sit back and say, what if, try it. You know, there's gonna be a lot of things you do that with, and some of them you're gonna like, some of them you're gonna be like, nah, I'm good. That's part of life, man. Trials and tribulation, and finding what you like and what you don't like. And I'm glad you like doing the podcast, and you told me earlier you did like toy reviews and all that.
mhm.
and all that. So just keep doing it all. Put all your irons in the fire. One of them bound to get hot, bro.
I
So
appreciate it. That's the best advice I've got. And
oh, being at and let me tell you the most important thing: being at the right place at the right time to get the right opportunity.
okay,
You know, and I've been very fortunate to be that guy that's been at the right place at the right time to get the right opportunity. And I'm blessed, man. And wouldn't change it for nothing. You know, thank you. I know I keep rambling. Like I said,
good.
man, I just talk some bullshit and go on. But tonight I enjoyed it. I did. Thank you for listening to my bullshit.
Thanks, man.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yes, sir. Don't forget to check out ILW podcast.
All right. Thank you.
All right, brother. Peace.
Bye, Tony.
Bye.